Well, hello there, drone cavers and indie brigaders. It's Terry with the Drone Cav again. Not going to start off today with any David Lynch weather reports. I'll just do one of my own. As you can see, the rain has stopped, at least for the moment, here in sunny Florida. It's been raining, past couple weeks pretty regularly every day, every afternoon. But I'm not complaining. We need it. The grass is growing, the flowers are blooming, everything's happy finally. It had been dry as a desert forever. So anyway, it's hot, super humid. But hey, that's just fine. We'll take it. It's summer in Florida. Today, I want to talk about a little bit of hardware. You've heard me talk a lot about the drones I fly, Autel Evo, currently a Mavic Mini for little stuff, light stuff, practice, rehearsal, stuff like that. But I pretty often get asked, what is a good model? And I've touched on this before in other episodes. What do I need? What is the best bang for the buck? You know, things like that. Like what's going to be a good drone to start with? And I always kind of make a joke about it, but there's really some truth to it. If you're learning to fly, if you're new, it's like learning to ice skate. If you try to learn in a cheap pair of skates, it's going to be a painful experience. You're not going to get the most out of it. It's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth or pain in your feet. Ta-da. Same with drones. You don't want to start off with something really cheap because it's not going to give you a real good flying experience. And it can even, teach you bad habits. It's just not going to be the best way to do it. But if you are planning on using a drone and you really want to learn this and you want to kind of get off started in a good way without breaking the bank, I still have something kind of pro level in your hands, something you can grow into, something that's got a lot of features that you're not going to say, okay, 2 months I'm going to have to toss this thing and get something more expensive or bigger. So that kind of comes back around to my choice of drones. I've flown tons of different models, different brands. I've owned a bunch of different ones, and I've just kind of got a lot of time flying different models. So I'm going to tell you why I chose the Autel Evo. Again, I'm not going to sales pitch you. I'm not going to say, hey, this is the best drone in the world. This is the only one you should buy. I mean, this is your choice. It's your money. It's the direction you want to go. But as a professional, doing what I do, not only flying for aerial cinematography, but also for other purposes, the Evo was my choice for a bunch of different reasons. Now, you're probably familiar with some of the big brands out there. DJI is a really big manufacturer, and I love some of their products. Autel is a much smaller company. They kind of, no pun intended, fly under the radar. They're not quite as out there as much of a household name because they don't make a lot of products. They don't make action cams. They don't make little robots on wheels that scurry around the house. They don't get into all this stuff. They kind of focus on pretty much a single line of drones. They used to make a bigger drone, kind of like the DJI Phantom. It was called an X-Star. No longer make that. They diverted their resources to the Evo 1 a couple years ago. And that's what I fly right now. Recently, they brought out the updated model to that, the Evo 2, which offers a lot more capability, a lot more horsepower, a lot more features. Definitely a pro-level device. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a comparison, just a on-paper comparison, just to let you know some things about pricing, what the different models offer, what you're getting for your money. So these might be things that help guide you in the direction if you're thinking about buying a drone. And again, I always say this, but hey, I'm here, I'm accessible. If you want to talk about the different models, talk about my experience behind the sticks flying them and all that kind of stuff. But due to my aged memory, I took some notes here. Notes are a good thing. Gotta love notes. All right. So, you've seen this guy on some of my other episodes. This is it. This is the Evo 1. You see, it's not really big. It's fairly compact. The arms fold up. It's easy to carry. It weighs a couple pounds in the state it's in. This is the old model. That doesn't mean it's obsolete. This guy was so far ahead of the curve when it came out a couple years ago that it's still very relevant. A few things going on here that we now see in a lot of drones. these two sensors. These are an obstacle sensor that helps it avoid objects as it's flying forward. It has a certain field of view, and it can see and avoid objects that it's flying toward. In the back, you have a couple sensors as well. Now, those don't avoid anything, but on your controller, it will give you an alert, and that if you're backing up close to something. It's not going to stop, though. It's just going to be a warning. Now, here's some cool stuff, though, on the bottom. Have a couple ultrasonic sensors there, and these two, not sure how well you can see them, these are cameras. So this helps the precision landing. So when it takes off, it can see actually what the ground or the terrain beneath was. Should be your landing pad. So it can see where it took off from. Now, those are some important things as far as the flight guidance and the flight characteristics of the drone. But we'll talk about the camera. Pop the cover off here. And this is, of course, the gimbal and the camera. Now, this guy shoots in 4K. Now, that's not really an uncommon thing. You see lots of drones that boast shooting in 4K, which is cool. That's kind of the standard, right? And that's what we want. But frame rate is another thing. So to be able to capture a video at a high frame rate takes a pretty powerful processor. This has an Ambarella processor in it to give it that extra horsepower, that extra muscle to crunch 4K at 60. Now, let's do a little comparison here. And again, these are just comparisons. This is not stone throwing at other brands, but these are things that guided my decision. The Mavic 2 came out year and a half ago, year and a half. So it's been a while. And the Mavic 3, everybody's talking about on the horizon. We've yet to hear anything official, but it's already starting to make the murmurings online. Okay, the Mavic 2 Pro came out about the same time as the Evo, and that guy, they split up the drone into basically two models. They split it out into a Pro and a Zoom. The difference? The Pro has a 1-inch sensor, a bigger camera. Okay, well, what's that mean? Well, a bigger sensor basically is going to give you a bigger dynamic range, a tick better lower light shooting, some things like that. But they cap it at 4K 30 frames per second. So that reduced frame rate is, to me, it's a little bit of a limitation there. It sort of speaks to the power of the processor or what it's doing. And if you do any kind of slow motion stuff, you definitely understand the higher frame rate and the advantages there. Now, the Mavic 2 Zoom has the 1/2.3 size sensor, which is sort of the standard out there. It's what this Evo has. Does a great job, fantastic job. The advantage is it has a built-in zoom. It has a 2-time optical zoom built in, and so that's pretty cool. But what if you want them both in one drone? What do? Well, in DJI's opinion, you buy 2 drones. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at the pricing. The Pro with the 1-inch sensor, just the drone, 1 battery and controller, the basic kit, is $1,600, $1,599. The Zoom is $1,349, a little less money. But again, drone, controller, battery. It's kind of the basic kit. Now, if you want to add the what's called the Fly More combo, which gives you a couple more batteries, a bag, I think some extra props, and maybe a doodad here or there, cable or something, $400. So you add another $399, and you're going to need that. You're going to need more than 1 battery to fly. I mean, come on, 1 battery is not going to do the job for you. If you buy the batteries individually, I don't have the price in front of me, but I want to tell you they're either $119 or $129. The last time I bought them for my Mavics, that's about what I paid. Now, we'll just kind of flip-flop and compare it to the Evo that I have here. Price-wise, $1,049. Okay, so let's back up just a minute. Talk about price of 3 models. Now, with DJI, if you want the big sensor, fine. If you want the zoom, fine. So, there's what you've got. The Evo has the 1/2.3 sensor, similar to the Mavic Zoom, but it also has the zoom built in. It's not an optical zoom, it's a digital zoom, but it's 8 times. You can step that zoom in 8 steps. Now, of course, we all know a digital zoom versus optical zoom. There is going to be some quality degradation the tighter you zoom in, but it's there and it's usable. And if you're shooting in 4K, it's going to give you some resolution to work with. So that's going to be something that you can work with, you can experiment with, depending on your shot. Make that work how you need to. But still, it's nice to have it right there at your fingertips on your controller. Boom, you can punch in on a detail or whatever you need. So again, it's pretty nice. Again, a higher horsepower camera in some respects. Now, if you want to add the accessories, again, we're at $1,049. Autel has what's called the on-the-go bundle. Basically the same thing as the Fly More combo with DJI. It's a nice bag, a couple extra batteries, an extra set of props, $219. So you're at $1,049 plus $219, $1,270 roughly. So you're still under $1,300. You're well under the base price for the cheapest Mavic 2. All right, and you've got a full kit. You're ready to go. You've got 3 batteries, and you're in good shape. So again, if it's a bang for the buck thing, if you're looking for getting the most out of your dollar, that's a very compelling argument. Now let's talk a little bit about actually flying the darn thing. You've heard me talk a lot about you're flying professionally, you need your FAA certificate to get your Part 107 certificate to fly commercially. You got to have that, right? So that will come into play in situations where there is something called geofencing, which is the drone's GPS acknowledging its location and determining if you're in a no-fly zone or a restricted or controlled flight area. DJI builds that in. They build geofencing into their drones. So if you are in an area they consider a no-fly zone or a restricted flight zone, your drone's not going to take off until you unlock it. Now, depending on where you're at and what type of unlock is required, that will take a few steps to get through to do the unlock procedure to let your drone take off. The Autel Evo has none of that. You are responsible for flying. That doesn't mean you can just go fly anywhere, even though technically the drone will take off. You've got to be professional. You've got to use good sense about this and not fly and throw safety out the window. Just because it will fly without being locked down doesn't mean you just go out there and have at it. I mean, you do have to follow the rules, follow the laws and all that, but the responsibility is placed on you as a remote pilot. So that's, again, where your professionalism comes in, and you acknowledge that, and you agree to fly safely. But to me, it almost feels that they're acknowledging and crediting their owners, their Autel Evo owners, that they're saying, hey, we know you guys are pros, we know you're going to follow the rules, we don't have to hold your hand and babysit you through this process. Another cool thing is, and I know this is important to some people, other people could care less, but Autel their headquarters is based here in the United States. They're based up in Washington State. Now, the product itself is built in China, so it's however you view that. But the company is based here in the United States, and they have fantastic customer service. I've talked to the guys a few times at Autel, just with questions or minor thing here or there over the past couple years, and they have been nothing short of courteous, prompt to respond if I had to send an email. I can't say enough how good the customer service experience that I have had has been. Now, again, and I'll qualify this whole thing. You can look around online and probably get a million different responses to this. I'm sure somebody somewhere has had a problem with Autel customer service. So I'm not, again, saying, hey, they're the most perfect in the world. I'm just telling you my experience. And let's go back to the camera for just a second. We've talked about the 4K and the resolution and quality and all that, but the field of view. I mean, do you ever think about that when you're shooting? Because remember, with a drone, sometimes you're going to be shooting at higher altitudes. you're going to be up there maybe shooting a landscape or something you just want to get a nice panorama or something that you need to get enough image in there so you can punch in later in post. The Evo has a 94-degree field of view. That's pretty nice. That's pretty broad. There are a couple caveats to that. Like one thing, if you're flying very fast forward, remember your drone pitches down as it moves forward. That's how it cuts through the air and it moves forward. If you're flying really fast, that angle of attack is going to be even steeper. So with that wide field of view, you can sometimes get some props up in the corner of your image. That's just one thing that you learn to work with as you practice and as you improve your flight skills. But other than that, it gives you a nice wide image, particularly for stills or just a static tripod shot or a crane shot, anything like that. You get a beautiful, beautiful big image. The Mavics, I think, are in the 87-degree range, which isn't bad, but still, 87 and 94 is more. So it does give you more image there to work with. We talked a little bit about the accessories, the difference between the Fly More kit, $399 versus $219, almost double. So what if you just need to buy one battery? Again, I think I mentioned this a minute ago. The individual batteries for the Mavics were like $119 or $129, something like that. These replacement batteries or extra batteries from Autel retail for $99, which isn't super cheap or anything. But you can routinely find these online and other places. I've seen them as low as like $79. You can look at some of the third-party drone resellers, like Carolina Drones, Drone Nerds, those places, and sometimes they have better pricing too. And as far as the shooting modes, the Evo shoot has the capability to shoot in a variety of modes. I mean, a normal mode, a vivid mode, black and white. You can pick all those things in camera to have it shoot in camera. But log, of course, we like to shoot in log for post. And again, that's always something pretty important to do with drone photography because of the the changes in the scenery. We just have a lot to work with there. So we like to shoot in log. DJI has two versions of log. They have one called D-Log, which you may be familiar with. And then they have another, what I kind of think of as sort of an in-between. It's called D-Cinelike. And D-Cinelike gives you a lot of image data to work with in post, but it also does some compression and adjustment in camera too. So it sort of gives you that, tries to give you that best of both worlds, but it just gives you sort of a compromise between log and just a regular automatic setting. Something I forgot to mention about the Evo 2, I did mention that you can swap cameras. You can buy one airframe with a camera, and later on, if you want to upgrade the camera, say to the 8K, surprise, we didn't talk about that yet, did we? Or you can even go up to another specialized camera. You can use the same airframe and buy the extra cameras, so that way you've got one drone and extra cameras you can swap out. I haven't done one myself, but I've seen the walkthrough on it. It's a user exchangeable camera. Doesn't look all that tough to do, so that makes it a lot more versatile too. Again, prevents you from having to buy a drone for this, a drone for that, a drone for that. You can buy your drone and get the cameras that you need and switch as needed. Now the Evo 2s, we're just kind of all over the place here, aren't we? But see, this is the whirlwind of this stuff. The Evo 2s come in a couple models. What I call the standard Evo 2. Don't want to call it a base model because it's got a ton of stuff. Starts at $1,500 or $1,495 specifically. But that thing comes with an 8K camera. Sinking in? Think about it. 8K camera. Man, it just doesn't compare, right? The Evo 2 Pro bumps up a little bit in price. It goes up to $1,795. But it gives you the 1-inch sensor, the bigger sensor, but it also gives you a 6K camera. Now, if we're used to shooting at 4K now, 6K is going to be plenty. Particularly, I mean, even if you needed 8K for whatever reason. Now, going above that is something that probably isn't that pertinent to aerial cinematography. This is more for search and rescue and specialized things like that, meaning of this type of heavy-duty use as well. They have a camera combination that has a visual camera and a FLIR camera. And I can't think of all the FLIR specs right off the top of my head, but it is very, very precise. I've seen some comparisons on other FLIR drone cameras, and this one's pretty amazing. So if you would happen to find yourself with a need for that, you would contact Autel, and they give you the specs on it. It's not something they just routinely sell, but they do have it available. And again, same type bundles are available for that. The last thing I really like about the Evos is it has something that's fantastic for just what we do in filmmaking. It's a little box. Don't have one here to show you. It's called a live deck. And now your drone is feeding your signal back to your controller. And by the way, the Evo controller has its own built-in screen. A little 3-inch screen. You can see your live feed there, or you can attach your smartphone or whatever your control screen is here and expand that. But anyway, it's feeding video back to your controller, right? So that's cool for you to see. But what if you needed someone else on set to see the same thing at the same time live that you're seeing as the controller? Well, they can always hover over your shoulder, and I've had directors do that, and we're kind of bumping into each other, and I'm trying to concentrate on flying, trying to concentrate on getting the shot, and we're all hovering around this little screen. It would be nice if they could have their own screen over here to look at. That's what Live Deck is. Live Deck plugs into an iPad, a computer, an HDMI screen, anything like that, and it shares that feed real-time, wirelessly. It's battery powered. All you do is plug it into an iPad or something, sit it over there, and they can watch the screen the same as you. That's really, really, really cool. And it's not expensive. I think it's like $400 for that. And so just imagine how that increases your productivity. So anyway, again, I know this sounds like an infomercial for Autel. It's really not. DJI makes very solid products. They're very reliable. Hey, DJI is the biggest name in the game. They're out there, but that doesn't mean they have everything that you want. And again, after going down this road, I love my Mini. I love my DJI Osmo Pocket we're recording on right now. I love some of their products, but when it comes to aerial cinematography, I found the Autel Evo 1 does the job for me. I'm about to add an Evo 2 here before long, which has even better obstacle sensing all around. Again, we just talked about the better cameras, or the higher resolution cameras, not necessarily better, but lots of good stuff there. So anyway, I hope this has been a little information, maybe some thought starters. I mean, you can get a really, really, really good drone for not tons and tons of money, and that's the name of the game. I mean, we're trying to keep as much money in our pocket. We've got small budgets to work with, but we want good quality. We want top quality, and there's a lot of options out there, a lot of alternatives. Again, I'm always here. If you want to talk about these different models, I can give you the pros and cons. We can dive even deeper into them. I'll tell you things I love about the Mavics that I've had and flown, which I do. Again, the dependability, the parts availability, stuff like that. They have a lot of pros too. But again, hey, I'm an Autel guy now after flying both for so long. So anyway, thank you for watching. Stay well, be healthy. The weather's changing. It's about to rain. We just got this in time now, didn't we? So anyway, take care. Special news. If you're watching this tonight on Thursday, we've got a special edition of the Wagner Wiles this Sunday. What is that? June 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern. I will be on with the Wagners, Lance and Samantha, and we're going to be joined by another good friend, Josh Knopfs from Tampa. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, drone stuff, the Florida film scene, the iHorror Film Festival, talk about Josh's movies. Just got a ton of fun stuff to talk about. So come check us out Sunday on the Wagner Wiles. Anyway, that's it for now. Any questions, contact me. Take care, be safe, and be well.